You can take a gun, shoot somebody in the face. It's not hard. Sometimes it might even be fun if they're a godless commie.
Now, what they're trying to do is sneak the COVID vaccine in your salads.
I hate math. Somebody say amen.
I don't think we can have a Palestinian state at this point. I've had it with the Palestinians. I've given up on the Palestinians. If I was in Israel, I wouldn't be talking about a Palestinian state right now. I don't think Joe Biden should be talking about a Palestinian state right now. And I don't like how people tried to differentiate between the Palestinians and Hamas. To me, I see people with guns. That's Hamas. The people without the guns are the Palestinians. They believe the same thing. The Palestinians hire Hamas to run their government. You poll them, they all love killing Jews. It's in their charter. They say they believe in suicide bombings. Every time a Palestinian refugee goes to another country, it doesn't work out so well for the other country and for those Palestinians. No one wants them. You don't see Egypt opening up their doors. You don't see Jordan opening up. You don't see the Saudis. Why don't they want the Palestinians, Dana? I think we all know why they don't want the Palestinians. And
Jeez. During Monday commentary on Fox News, The Five, Jesse Waters revealed he doesn't see much difference between Palestinians, a population that includes children and women and people that are not a member of the terrorist group Hamas. Despite what Waters thinks, Palestinians are in an unrelenting nightmare. Al-Aqil Arab Hospital is a gruesome sight the morning after Tuesday's night airstrikes. This is from Al Jazeera. 3,000 people who survived missile attacks in other parts of Gaza had come to take refuge at Al-Ahil, where they slept in the garden courtyard and in the upper floors of the hospital building. Those who were not among the at least 500 people who were killed in Tuesday's night attack walked around dazedly, collecting what belongings were still usable or helping retrieve dead bodies and body parts. Like I said, that's again from Al Jazeera. It goes on to say in Al Jazeera, the Palestinian Health Ministry said at least 3,300 people have been killed in Gaza and 11,000 wounded in Israel air raids. Another 1,200 people across Gaza are believed to be buried under the rubble, alive or dead, according to the same health authorities. Reportedly, at least half of those who have been killed were children. My God, I at this point, I think when we see the conservatives and people all over social media, X, what used to be Twitter, talking about this idea that there's no difference or no reason for Palestinians to exist, I'm left questioned and baffled by where's the humanity, where's the consciousness that supposedly exists in their Christian religion of this family value party, where they can say the death of millions, and in this case thousands of people, is justified by what a small group or sect of folk are doing. The equivalent to this is saying that the KKK is enough for there to be no white people anymore in this country. That sounds drastic and harsh, but that is the exact equivalent the exact equivalent they are making. But they will never say that, and we will be criticized if we thought and saw the world in that manner. Wise, what about you?
I think what you're seeing from Jesse Waters and a lot of the powers that be at this point, especially after the bombing of that hospital, which, is only comes after 6,000 bombs have been dropped on Palestine just recently, is just a desperation. I think in the first days of, the sort of Hamas attack, there was a lot of propaganda put out about, babies being beheaded on camera and this type of thing. And you saw that so that they could sod the ground for any type of response, no matter how indiscriminate or brutal the response was from the Israeli regime. I think they understand that public will, not just in the Arab world, but all over the place, will, start to go against Israel once people start to see that this response is a bit not proportionate with what Hamas did. As heinous as that was, then that must be said. Nobody agrees with the death of any innocents, be they Palestinian or Israeli. I think that's all you're seeing right there with Jesse Waters is desperation. They know the tide is going to eventually shift, and people will not be for what Israel is currently doing in the Gaza Strip. Like, it's inhumane. It's they're committing war crimes right now in the way that they're attacking. And the last thing I'll say to address what he said about the Palestinians and some of their refugee statuses, and the fact that certain Arab countries have not accepted Palestinians into their country with open arms. Forget about the merits of that. But let's just talk about his justification, saying these people aren't great. Essentially, these people aren't people. If Jesse Waters knew his history, he would know that at the founding of the state of Israel, whether you think that was legitimate or not, it was countries like the United States, countries like Great Britain, countries like France, who did not want to accept the Jews into their country. That was part of their justification for creating this new Jewish state. And their reason for doing so was extremely racist and anti-Semitic. They would probably posit those at that time. The powers that be in the United States, Great Britain, even Russia would probably say something similar to what Jesse Waters is saying about the Jews. That's what they would have said. That would have been part of their justification for giving them their own country. So I would advise that guy to do his history and, have a better understanding about the situation on the ground over there than the history of that situation.
Yeah, and I think it's important that people understand. I think, and I don't need to speak for you because you did a great job just then, that people need to understand that what happened last week was not the beginning of what happened. This is 73 years in the making, right? This is what happens when you occupy a people, when you shut down, when you have the ability to cut off their electricity, their water, their food supplies, and everything else, and put 2.5 million people in a space that's the size of Detroit. You are building a reaction similar to what happened, and we do not condone what Hamas did, but we also do not equate Hamas with all Palestinians, and we definitely don't otherize them to the point that we don't see them as human and instead as collateral.
But Mondale, again, just look at the damage, the devastation that has been wrought by the Israeli government. There is no single person saying that all Israeli citizens, no matter what, if Hamas had the capabilities of having the luxury of having American-made weapons, that they should then come out and attack Israeli citizens in the same way that Palestinian citizens are being attacked in response. Nobody would make that claim. Everybody would say, look, that's what the military is doing. Obviously, non-combatants don't deserve to bear the brunt of the actions of the military and the regime. Everybody understands that when it comes to Israelis. Nobody on that side seems to be making that same distinction when it comes to Palestinians.
And we see that in mainstream media. If you listen to mainstream media right now, over and over, their coverage looks like it's one side and that's it. Like you said, we dropped 6,000 bombs. We didn't. Israel dropped 6,000 bombs in 1 week. That's the equivalent to what America dropped in a year in Afghanistan.